Hello, everyone. Becca here. I got this idea from one of my mentors, and I want to share it here. I am going to be telling my story for 30 days straight. Come on here every day for 30 days. And the point being, I want to sort of just, one, be a little vulnerable. If like I'm nervous, I'm scared doing this. I don't know why. It's like very tender for me, but I want to be here. I want to show up what it's and uh, give you that sort of side of me. So every day it might be a little bit different. I might talk about different things and go into deeper places, but I just kind of want to share a little bit of sort of my history, how I started what I'm doing and where it came from. I also have been really working on not smiling when I don't mean it. So call me out if you see me like just randomly smiling, call me out. So my story, my biggest piece of my story as of right now is my connection and my distaste for my body. One thing that I kind of have realized since doing this work is that beliefs get passed on through generations and generations. And so I was actually taking on beliefs of the people who raised me and the people who raised them, and the people who raised them. And it wasn't actually the truth. So I grew up with a mother believing that fat was literally the worst thing that you could be. That was not her belief either. She got that from her mother and so on and so forth. But that just sort of leaked all over me, all over my experiences, all over my childhood, all over my middle school years, all over my adult years. It was there. It was very present. And how that sort of manifested was a ton of dieting. I was like a little bit chubby growing up, and that was sort of like a red flag. That was this is the worst thing that you could be. You're becoming it. And so it became this drive to do anything and everything by all means necessary to change that, to make it so that I fit into the mold of society with my body. I didn't. I never have. This is my body. It has been this way for a very long time. But I took some really extreme measures. Like if there's any type of diet or any type of means of losing weight, I can guarantee you that I've tried it. I tried keto, Atkins, committed to kids. This diet was something with carbs and protein. There's like the pills, like everything. I was so committed because in my belief, which I had taken on from my ancestors before, was that fat was the worst thing that you could be, that no one would ever love me if I was fat. That this was, so I directly tied my weight with my worth. I couldn't not. It was like so right of me to do that. But it wasn't the truth. And so for years, I failed at dieting. Now I know that about 95% of diets fail. If I knew that then, I would have stopped trying, because that's ludicrous. That's ludicrous to keep doing something that has a 95% failure rate. So I failed at all these diets, every time feeling really shitty about myself, every time feeling worse and worse and worse about myself as it went on. If I lost weight, I got praised and that felt really good. But then if and when I gained it back, then they didn't say anything. But I knew that, if they had noticed that I had lost weight, then obviously they knew that I had gained weight, and it was just that connection. Surprisingly, I didn't hold back in the physical activities in high school. I was very active in athletics and loved that. And I feel really grateful for that side of me. It taught me a ton. But the whole time I was disconnected to my body. Looking back, I'm like, I wonder what it would be like if I was connected to my body throughout all of those movements. Probably much different. So I started my first diet at 7 and dieted until 27. And at 27, I remember I paid a whole bunch of money to this doctor, and they took my blood and they sent it to Germany, and they told me this list of foods that I could have. And it was so scientific. I had to weigh, and I had my first bite had to be protein, and I couldn't have the same protein. It was so complex. And I remember looking at how much money I had spent, looking at the details. And I said, if this doesn't work, this doesn't work, meaning if I don't lose weight, then I'm done. This is just the body that I'm supposed to be in, and yada, yada. And it didn't work. I mean, it worked for a little bit, but for the most part, I was still very fat. I was still very overweight, and no signs of that changing anytime soon. So I dropped that, and around the same time, I had a really, really hard, like, bad back. I couldn't stand for very long. Walking was painful, yada, yada. And everybody I turned to said, have you tried losing weight? If you tried losing weight, this would really take some weight off your back and feel really good. And I was like, have I tried losing weight? Yes, I've tried losing weight. Are you kidding me? Like, can you tell me something else? So I found this program on YouTube with Yoga with Adriene, and funnily enough, a thin white person teaching me yoga was who hooked me. But what I loved about her practice was that she really offered bus stops, like various places to be in the pose, not making one better or worse. So I felt very accepted there. I felt very okay with where I was. So it was literally just like stretches on my back, trying to help my back, and it did. And through that, I became obsessed with yoga, yoga and meditation. I grew up around mindfulness. That was a really big part of my childhood. Like, we had a Hindu guru above our fireplace growing up, and went to ashrams, and super big into meditation and yoga. So I knew that sort of concept of moving with your breath from a very young age, but it was just the weird thing my hippie mother did. And so I just sort of wrote it off. But when Adriene sort of asked me to reconnect to that, it was very easy to do so. It was already there. I already knew it. And so I was able to go really deep with yoga really quickly. I very quickly realized how spiritual, mental, emotional it all is. It's not, I mean, yeah, it's physical, but like, that's just one layer of it. And so yoga became the place where I did my healing. I had let go of this disaster of dieting chain and said, you know what, like, I'm done with these diets. Let's see what it's like to love myself in this body right now. And yoga was the place where you can't hide from yourself. You know, I remember having very frustrating and overwhelming moments because I was like, oh snap, that's where my belly is. Like, you can't hide from yourself. And so it was so healing to that piece of me. It forced me to reconnect to my body. A lot of emotion came out. I remember specifically one time stretching into my hip, and all of a sudden this comment that my mother had made to me popped up. And I had not heard of it since the time she had told me it. And I guess that my body just like wedged it right in my hip. So that sort of then transformed how I felt about myself. I did a lot of inner work on myself while that was happening, you know, like did a lot of mirror work, a lot of conversation, reflection, and I learned so much. I was teaching math at the time in Brooklyn and kind of knew that I wasn't supposed to do it for the rest of my life, but didn't also know what I was going to do. And through this, it's so funny how things are timed the way that they're supposed to happen. I met my now coach, and it was just like, she was kind of the, like, I imagined myself sort of at the edge, like, oh, I'm seeing that I'm supposed to be doing other things. And she just kind of like shoved me off the edge. Grateful for her for that. But I realized, like, this is what I'm supposed to do. Like, yeah, I'm a teacher. Yeah, I have all this education training, and yeah, but I can teach anything. And it's not math that I'm supposed to be teaching. It's this how to do this deep transformational healing within yourself. And so that's what I do now. I do that work with other people. I help people dig deep into who they really are, to look at the beliefs that they hold about themselves. And I give them tools and strategies and various things to help them look at it and shift it so that those beliefs don't continue to get carried on. That to me is, I think, the most important piece of this is, if I have children, I don't have any plans on that right now, but if I were to have children, I know that I'm not passing that belief of hatred of my body to them. And that to me is something that I can be so grateful that on this line, of children, on this line of offspring, that cycle is now cut. I'm sure that I will mess up if I have kids. I'm sure that I will mess them up in a different way. That's like literally our job as humans. But I know that I don't look at my body the same way I used to. There's no way that a kid of mine would pick up on me hating my body because it's not there. And as kids, we just sort of extrapolate all of this information, take in so much, and then fill in the holes. And so if I'm sitting there in front of a mirror, changing my outfit 9 times and, you know, like all the things that I used to do, they're going to see that. They're going to learn that. That is a learned behavior. I didn't come out of my mother hating my body. I was taught that. And so that's where I get really excited, is this opportunity to truncate that ancestral pattern. Because body shame and body hatred is so pervasive. I've said this before, you are in your body all the time. There's not a moment that you're not in your body. So if you feel any type of way that's not positive about it, everything is more hurt. Everything sucks just a little bit more. So I'm really pumped that that doesn't have to continue on, because that body shame and body hatred is very pervasive in our society. There's $1 trillion industry feeding off of it. And I'm so pumped that if I have kids, that won't happen. I know, like, my nieces aren't getting that from me either. When they see me, I'm just going like this and dancing and having fun and loving life. And I'm so pumped that that's the message that they receive, that you can be fat as hell and just as authentic and loving and happy and mobile as the next person. I think that's where I'm going to stop for today. I still have 29 more days, so I got to say some other stuff. So yeah, I'm starting a couple of things to help this. I think I'm going to start an online course, which will be a very bite-sized way to start some of this work. If body shame and body guilt and all that stuff is stuff you struggle with, that would be like a really low investment, low commitment opportunity. I also have a group starting this winter, which is filling up, but there are still spots. So if you want this work but are kind of confused as to how to make it happen, if you're like, oh damn, that I want to shift some things in my life, reach out and feel free to comment or share this video or any of that. Because I believe fully in what I do and the power that it has. I've seen it. Hi Annette. Good to see you. I've lived on both ends of it. You know, I've lived in the, like, truthfully, I don't think anyone has ever hated their body more than I'm sure there is, but intense, deep hatred for my body to what it is now. And so if I can at all be of service to anyone making that shift, I'm here for it. So if you know anyone, please give them my name. Like, this is really, really important work, and I believe in it. So that's part 1 of my story. I will be back tomorrow to share similar things, basically the same thing, but going into a little bit more depth in various places. So I don't know what'll come out tomorrow, but thank you all for being here. Sending you all tons and tons of love. Hi, Matthias.